So welcome to the RIA. I'm just going to go ahead and get started, and we'll first start off with having Houston come up and just do a quick little snapshot of the market.
I'm going to give you an overview of what the market looks like. My name is Houston Garrett. I'm a real estate agent at Keller Williams. This is comparing June to last June. It's very similar. In this environment, you kind of have two people, I would say. You have a market where the people who have cash that want to move can't find a good deal to put their cash. They're holding on to it because everything is just kind of, I wouldn't say overpriced, but there's not a really good deal to put their cash. And then the common individual is tight on cash right now. And so you have this thing where the people that could move, that live in a house that have the cash, they're not moving because they like their interest rate so much. And if they move somewhere and they finance it, then their payment's gonna go up 30% of what they have, so it's not worth it. And then the people who are their first time buyers, they're just tight on cash. So that's a little bit of why I think there's not much movement going on. There's more houses on the market. Last year, we just had this influx, right, of houses that went on the market and were coming out of this low interest rate. It was just a shock. And now it feels like, okay, it's similar to last year, but the interest rates have been up. You know, they've been up since last year. And I think it's just that hold of why it's similar, as you have those two different things going on. I'm thinking somewhat in March, we might have some kind of interest rate break, not anything significant. And I think that will get some movement across the board. Yeah, March or May. In that season, I think the bankers that I've talked to, they're saying, okay, we think we're preparing. There's 10-year treasury stuff that's in October. We're thinking we're going to have stuff that we think we're going to cut rates in, just slightly. We're preparing for it. So their sense on it is if rates get cut, there'll be more inventory on the market, but it won't inflate prices. Like when we had COVID, we had people who had cash and interest rates came down and people felt good because they got their check and they were optimistic and interest rates were down, we had low inventory and people entered the market. I think we might have a little different situation. I think we might have more inventory, but there'll be a lot of lateral movement compared to when interest rates drop. So there's more inventory on the market than there ever has been. If there's any time to put an offer that's lower than list, it would be right now. People are putting their house out there, comparing their houses to what is sold, and it's not selling. They're pricing it with the market, and stuff is just sitting, and that's what it is, because there's so many options. And the market is also very weird. I have a couple townhomes. I list them all at the same price, and in 1 week, I get a cash offer for full price, and it closes. But my other one that I have on the same street that's nicer, and we reduce the price in 2 weeks, is not selling. So you have like this weird phenomenon that's happening. Like you have someone that sees it in their eyes as a good deal, and they buy that, and then you have something that sits. If you really want to sell in this market, and you have to price it right when you list it. You really almost have to price it under market to get the attention, to really get activity and sell it. That's what I'm seeing as far as the market.
Thank you. So we have a sponsor of the month. It's Nugent Mechanical, and so I just wanted to bring them up here real quick, just tell them who they are and what they do. So, Brooke.
Hey guys, my name is Brooke Nugent. I am the operations director at Nugent Mechanical. We've been in business for about 26 years, and we do everything from big commercial projects, kind of like this building, to your small homes, rental homes. We have maintenance programs that are tailored to every level of HVAC needs that you could have. We're quick, reliable, honest, and we have really fair pricing. So we do sponsor Lubbock RIA. We do give a 10% discount on any ticket with the Lubbock RIA card. So if you have any questions, HVAC is pretty simple. We provide air. So if you have any questions or any projects that maybe you're working on, I have a crew of my guys over here that would love to answer any questions after the meeting. So you can come and find us, and we'd love to talk with you. Thank you.
Speaking of VIP memberships, we have Aaron here that's going to talk about our RIA. So.
Yes. So yes, Being a member of the RIA is free, and we encourage you to sign up. You can do that either with the QR code on these banners or on the sign on the table, and that just gives us a way to connect with you. So we will send you emails on events, text messages about the events, and the recaps. So if you miss a meeting, we'll send out a recap of everything you missed. So please get connected with us. On the other hand, if you want to invest in the RIA, we have these cards that are $200 that allow you access to all of our sponsor discounts that you can find on your table signs here or on the website. And it's a good investment. So they're only $200, but Luke, how much did you get in return?
I'd say I've saved over 1,000 right now. I mean, I've had the car for a month.
Just over 1,000 in savings. So it's going to pay for itself multiple times. So if you are interested in getting one of these cards, you can come see me at the table after, and I will get you set up.
All right, so we got a topic for you guys, exit strategies. And so speakers come up.
Kevin and I have Pinnacle Commercial Lending. We do loans on investment properties. A lot of times people get into it with only focus on one strategy to get out of the property, one exit strategy, so to speak. Well, what if this happens? What if that happens? So tonight's topic is exit strategies. So, Luke, buy a house in Lubbock. What's one way you can make money on it?
Flip it.
Flip it. That's right. What's another way?
Rent it out.
Rent it out. Did y'all know half the properties in Lubbock are rental properties? Half. So there's a ton of rental properties in Lubbock. So where do you start with that? Before you buy a property, you need to think of multiple ways to get out of it, to exit it, to make money on it. And one is to rent it. So you got to figure out how much does it rent for? Well, there's a lot of different ways to do that. You can go to Zillow, see what's listed. You can talk to a professional who manages properties. He can tell you probably just by giving the address. If you just tell him the property condition, what it's going to be after you own it and fix it up. And then from there, you can use some rules of thumb. Does anybody know what the 1% rule is when it comes to rentals? It's a real basic rule of thumb. If a house is worth $100,000, you need to rent it for at least 1%. So it's $1,000 a month as your rent. We always are a little bit more aggressive. We always aim for 1.25 to 1.5 on properties. The more expensive the property, typically you didn't have to be as aggressive. On lower price properties, you definitely need to be closer to the 1.5% minimum. So that's a basic way to figure out the rental market. And when you go on Zillow, for example, just to get an idea they help you get a ballpark idea of the rental market. And if there's a ton of properties for rent, you know it's a soft market. And rentals in Lubbock are seasonal, especially around any universities, obviously. August 1st is a big start time on a lot of rentals. But there's always someone looking to rent a property. And then what? Side note, you always want to do what wealthy people do. Wealthy people ask often, then what? Get your degree, then what? You buy a house, then what? So you can rent it out, and then what? Then you need to refinance it. If you have a short-term loan that you got to fix it up with Pinnacle, for example. You need to be able to cash flow it. You need to know that it cash flows before you can buy it, so you see if it's eligible to refinance it. And does anybody know how to calculate the debt service coverage ratio on a property? Show of hands. Who knows how to do the math on the debt service coverage ratio loan? So, okay. Luckily, we've got a spot on our website that has a calculator that you can get for free. There's ones on the internet, but it's real basic. So this is a basic spreadsheet. We wanted to keep it simple. Can y'all see that? Okay. So you just put in data in the yellow cells, and the rest kind of fills itself out. So you come up with the rent that you came up with off of Zillow and talking to Wendell. So entered there is $1,500. That's a reasonable rent for Lubbock for 3-2 or different houses in different neighborhoods. So let's change that to $1,400. And then you can get your monthly insurance. You can get a quote from Sean Vincent Insurance. That's who we recommend everyone to go to. He is an investor himself. He doesn't sell you on insurance you don't need. It's reasonably priced. Great company to go with for insurance. He give you a quote. This one, for example, we have 125 bucks a month in insurance. On taxes, you can go to the Lubbock Central Appraisal District and get an idea of what your annual taxes are, divide by 12, and you get the monthly taxes. Management fee, it's 10%. Typically, if you go with minutes, it's how much? If you're a VIP member?
You get a 20% discount.
Okay, so 8%. And then long-term loan, typically, if you get a loan to purchase and rehab it, you can roll in a lot of those expenses into that loan if you buy it right. And I can't stress that enough. You need to buy the property right. You make so much money when you buy a property at discounted value. It saves you years on rental properties. You can make so much money on buy. So if you have a $150,000 loan, you're not getting 1%. Let's lower that down to 140. There's multiple ways to finance it. You can finance it at a bank. They typically go over 15 or 20 years. They're typically around 8.5%, give or take a little bit. You can finance it with your rich uncle that won the lottery. I don't recommend that. You can do a 30-year fixed rate loan. There's different people that do that. Kevin, do you know anyone that does 30-year fixed rate loans?
Not really.
No, not really. So
Pinnacle does.
Pinnacle, we do 30-year fixed rate loans. This automatically calculates your debt service coverage ratio. So this is what anyone that does it, what's called DSCR loan, looks at. We do DSCR loans, that's what I'm talking about. That stands for debt service coverage ratio. That 1.03 at the bottom is the number you have to have at least 1. 1 is break even. That should be, you shouldn't even think about buying one if it's under 1. You should aim for 1.25, even more, because this doesn't take into account maintenance or repairs or anything else. The other spreadsheet on the website has that at different percentages, so you can play with it and have fun with it. So on this case, you qualify for a refinance, you would net 34 bucks a month. So it's not a great deal, but it gives you an idea of one exit strategy on buying a property.
So renting is one way. Another way is to sell it. And so when you go in and buy a property, I do suggest that you have multiple exit strategies, which is why we're going on these. Will it rent out? Will it sell? And I wanted to go over the selling process. And I actually have a live example of one. All right, so one exit strategy is selling the property. I actually have a live example here, and so I kind of wanted to go through the numbers. Y'all can download this spreadsheet straight from our website as well. And again, just plug in the yellow fields. Auto-calculate kind of everything else. So this is a live example. I actually close on it tomorrow. Sales price, this is what it's worth after it's all fixed up. It's that 220 number, and so I'll plug that in. Actually got with a realtor, and that's the number that they gave me. My loan payoff. How much am I borrowing to buy this property? In this case, I'm using Pinnacle, and I'm borrowing $170,000 to purchase this property. And so right then and there, that's about a $50,000 margin. And that's all you hear all the time. I'm gonna make 50 grand. No, you're not. There's so much more you gotta calculate whenever you're flipping a house. And that's what this kind of goes over. The next one, cost to sell, 10%. Does anyone question the 10%? I see John, he's real confused. How much does a realtor cost?
6% normally.
It's negotiable. There's a big lawsuit last year over this. It's all negotiable. However, most are going to charge around that 6% range. So why am I using 10%?
Closing costs.
Negotiations, additional repairs. They need assistance with closing costs. They don't offer the full price 220. There's multiple reasons why I'm calculating 10%. And this is also to be safe. If it doesn't make sense at 10%, you probably don't want to do this. So calculate 10%. Yes, realtor may only be 6, but there's other things that you got to account for. What if they come in and only offer 215 and I accept it? I'm kind of calculating that in at this 10%.
So I got a question.
That sales price, how do you determine that before you buy?
I called a real estate agent. I'm looking at a house. This is the address. Can you run numbers and tell me what it's worth realistically to sell?
How do they run numbers?
They pull comps.
I knew the answer.
You knew the answer.
You gotta
So who do you call to get that number? The guy that just spoke, Houston. So that's what he does. He can help you on this. You just tell him about the property and he can run these numbers for you. So I calculate 10% of the foreclosing cost to sell. And so my gross proceeds is $28,000. Not as attractive as that $50,000 as it once was. I'm still not done.
Bless you.
I still have to pay monthly insurance, taxes, landscaping. Every month that this property sits on the market, that's going to cost me. Not only that, utilities, I gotta have a power on. And then I have monthly payments. Since I borrowed money from Kevin and Joe, they want me to pay them monthly. Go figure, right? And so in this last yellow column, months to close, how long is it gonna take you to sell the property? You can change this number. I'm just putting 3 because I'm gonna be pretty aggressive on the price here. And so it'll kind of auto-calculate like your carrying cost. Okay? And so after all that, my net profit is only $17,815, which is nowhere near that $50,000, but that's the number that everyone talks about. So just be mindful that when you flip a property, there's a lot of costs involved, and you can get this spreadsheet for free right off of our website. And all you have to do is just plug in the yellow fields. Any questions over that?
So next time you watch HGTV and they talk about how much money they're making, you're thinking, that's not holding costs or carrying costs or costs to pay it off.
So the way you got that set, you have 50,000 in for the remodel?
No, so the 170 is my purchase price plus remodel.
Okay.
The actual numbers is 150 purchase, 20,000 to remodel, which is 170. That's my total loan that they're giving me for this. So I have a house to sell in about 3 weeks. Okay.
So, one of the things that I recommend for everyone is that you have multiple exit strategies before you even buy the property. And what will determine some of those exit strategies is the property itself. As investors, we have different tools in our toolbox, right? Different ways that we negotiate, our financing, all that plays a part in what we can do with the property, okay? So if we're gonna buy a particular property and we just go in and make an offer, well, and you don't know what you're gonna do with that property, it's gonna end up costing you money every time. Every time, I promise you, because you don't know what your exit strategies are. So it's very important to have several exit strategies in your back pocket that you can use, not that you know about, but that you understand and can use. When Joe was talking about the debt service coverage ratio, we stress this a lot. This is missed quite a bit on the lending side because when you don't take into account that debt service coverage ratio, you don't take into account a lot of other things too. So if you know what that debt service coverage ratio is, then you're going to be more apt to offer a different amount. You're going to find out what the rental rate is in that area. If you can actually get that, you'll ask different questions, okay? Because if you don't get that number right, that's a huge number. If you don't get that number right, you're not going to be able to refinance that property. Okay? So your exit strategy that you were going to go with, the one exit strategy you had, is gone. Now what are you going to do? Well, you're going to be in panic mode. So when you go to buy a property, do these things first. Use these free calculators, and I promise you it will help you make better investment decisions. You can say, well, okay, on this property, we can do this with this property. We have this exit strategy and this exit strategy. So we're telling you a couple of different exit strategies tonight. There's a bunch out there. One of the ones I want to talk about tonight is owner finance. How you can owner finance a property. Instead of flip it, you can flip it by using owner finance. And one of the big questions that people have when they owner finance a property is, well, how do I do this? I don't have any money, right? So there's ways that you can do owner finance without any money out of your pocket. And so the beautiful thing is, it's one of my favorite strategies. And the reason is because you can flip that property at the highest part of the market. You can get the most money for that property when you owner finance it. Okay? Because people are wanting to be out of the rental game. They want to own. And there is a ton of people that want to own a property and they don't want to rent, but they can't qualify traditionally. And so when you can't qualify traditionally, then you have to be a renter. But if you can offer owner financing to individuals, there's some huge benefits to it. Right? One of the benefits is, unlike rental property, an owner finance, once you get them in and they're owner financing the property from you, then you just let it go. You don't have to manage it. If something breaks, they got to fix it, right? They own the house. They get the deed to the property. You become basically a note holder of that property, all right? The thing with owner finance, you have to do it the right way, right? There's a lot of people out there that just put that property up for owner finance, and they're breaking a lot of laws. You have to be careful when you're owner financing because it's a consumer loan. So you don't have to be licensed, but you can do about 3 properties a year, all right, without a license. There's ways to do more than that we can talk about and show you. But owner financing has huge benefits, especially when you want to build a large portfolio, because there's no headaches involved. There's no calls in the middle of the night. And so you get cash flow, plus you sell your property at the top of the market, and you get to pocket some of that money right away. So that's a huge benefit of owner financing a property. Some of the downfalls of owner financing is, one, you kind of need to know what you're doing, okay, or have some guidance, so you set it up and you structure it the right way. The other thing is you don't get the appreciation like you do with a rental property. Okay, with rentals, you get the appreciation, right? And you get the depreciation. So you get to write it off your taxes. And every time they make a payment, you get money in your net worth, okay, in your pocket. So eventually they'll pay off that house. So with owner finance, you don't get that benefit. So that's the only downfall to the owner finance. It's a trade-off. Okay, you're trading a headache of having to manage it, which I would rather them manage it than me manage it, because I don't like managing it. Joe's crazy; he manages his own stuff. But owner finance is another good strategy. Another strategy too. We talked about this about, I think it was 2 months ago, when we talked about short-term rentals. How many were here for that? Did y'all remember? Yeah. Was it last month? No,
that's 2 months ago.
2 months ago. That's another great strategy. There's benefits to that, and there's also some things that I don't like about it. But if you have someone or yourself that can manage a short-term rental, an Airbnb or VRBO, it is a great way to increase your cash flow. It's a lot of them, if they're managed well, they'll actually do a little bit better than a rental. I know a lot of it depends on the particular house, area, size of the house, and then how it's managed. Management is really the key. There's a lot to managing an Airbnb that you need to have a lot of knowledge when you do that. Just because you get rated, people are all constantly going to you know, the first chance that people can get and gripe about it, they're going to gripe about it, you know. And you have to manage those, or your ratings go down. You don't get any bookings. So those are a couple of other exit strategies. I would recommend that every property you look at, the first thing you're thinking is exit strategy. Okay, like, okay, what can I do with this? You know, how do I negotiate this according to what I would like to do? Because if you're looking at a $300,000, $400,000 house, all right, your exit strategy probably shouldn't be rental. It may not even be a short-term rental. So you may need to negotiate that a little bit better because it may just be a flip. If it's going to be a rental, then you're probably not going to cash flow, and you know you're going to waste your time. Your debt service coverage ratio will tell you that right away because the rents are not going to keep up when you're doing that size of home. So unless you paid cash for it, you don't owe anything on it, which we don't recommend. Always keep debt on your properties. That's another thing. People say, well, why would you do that? There's a lot of reasons why you want debt on your properties and not pay them off. Does everybody understand why you would keep debt? I mean, this is getting a little bit off topic, but
I don't understand.
you don't understand? Okay. How many people would rather be debt-free and pay off their properties? Wouldn't that sound great?
No.
After I've already told you, no, don't do that. The reason is because, okay, let's say I go buy this house and I put, you know, $100,000 down and it's worth $200,000, okay? So if something bad happened to me, then, and I couldn't work or something, and the bank had to take it back, they've just taken my $100,000 plus they've got, you know, a property worth $200,000, okay? The other reason is, when you have a lot of equity in your real estate, ask yourself this question: how much of that equity is bringing you income every month? What rate of return are you getting on that equity? You're not getting anything. It's just sitting, right? So what you want to do is, yeah, you want to pay it down. Then you want to do a cash out of that equity. It's tax-free. Then you put it into another property. And that one starts making money for you, okay? So you want to keep pulling the money out and investing it. Don't go buy a boat. Don't go do something crazy like that. But you can use that as a way to pull out tax-free money, which is fantastic. It's a great strategy. So don't just let your equity sit there and not make you anything. Okay, does that make sense of why you would want to keep a loan on your properties? Yeah. So any questions on? Yes.
Yeah, is there a certain percentage of equity that you would want to stay above? Like never get to where you're at 80% equity in the home or 60 or 50 or?
It's a great question. It's going to be dependent upon your financing, and it's going to be dependent upon your debt service coverage ratio, okay? Because if you pull out 80%, let's say you pull out 80%, well, now you may not cash flow. So if you can't cash flow, you're not going to get refinanced.
Most cash out loans are up to 75%.
Of loan value.
But when you get under 50, there's no magic number here. But once you get below 50, you should be definitely looking at options.
Yeah. Because you're going to be at 20,000, and you'll still be in a good range of cash flow.
Thank you.
Questions on that?
Are there other financing options? Do you use a debt or a loan servicing company?
Absolutely, yes. That's the other beauty of it. Once we set it up, we have a loan servicing company. They just literally send us the payments each month. They break it out for us. They take care of the taxes. They take care of the insurance. So you really don't have to worry about it.
What's the rate on that?
You can go up to 6.5% over APOR and still be safe. Okay, so let's say it's at 5%. 5%, then you can go up to, 11.5%. Right now, I think the rate is around, you can go up to like 12.5 or 13%. So, yeah, it's pretty high. And you gotta weigh that, you gotta weigh that. The idea is that, you want them to be in there for an extended period of time. But, you're gonna be also dealing with some people that have, they can't qualify traditionally. So, when they're ready to qualify, they're gonna refinance out of it anyways.
What's the rate on the company for the loan servicing company?
They usually, I think they charge, $25 to $35, but you don't pay for it, they do.
Right.
The borrower does.
Per month, I guess it is.
Yeah, it's part of their payment.
It's typically $150 setup fee one time.
And they take care of taxes, insurance, everything.
And annual reporting too. So there's requirements for sending notices to the borrower. If you owner finance, it's a consumer loan, so you have to send notices to the borrower, and they handle all of that.
Sounds like a whole lot of questions over owner financing.
Yeah, so most servicing companies can start, they'll automatically send letters if they're a good servicing company. Not all servicing companies are the same. They'll automatically send pass-through letters. Some of them have triggered an automatic phone call, then a person follows up. Some of these companies can go all the way through foreclosure. It depends how much you want them to do.
Wish there was a class that taught us about owner financing. Oh wait, Kevin.
Yeah, we do have a class now. It's a class that you guys, if you want to look into it, we'll give you some information on it. We are going to give a discount to anybody in the RIA that wants to do the class. The class is $4,997, but we're doing a 60% off for any of the RIA members. So if you want to learn how to do it, learn how to do it the right way, we can show you how to do that. Also, what we'll do too is anybody that wants to do the owner finance class, we think there's a lot of value in the VIP cards, and so to help the RIA out, we will purchase your VIP card for you if you do that. So that we get kind of a double benefit. But it's an exit strategy that works, and it's great. I love it. But you have to do it right, and we can show you how to do that. So we'll probably have in the next couple of months, we'll probably have an owner finance night, so we can kind of talk a little bit more in depth. But those are the exit strategies that we wanted to talk about. So we'll kind of open it up for questions. Any of the exit strategies, if you have an exit strategy that you like, that you've used, that's worked, please share it tonight for the group, because we'd like to hear more exit strategies if you've got them.
I don't have an exit strategy, but when do you, is it 1039 exchange? Or when do you
1031.
have, what is it?
1031.
Sure, yeah, when do you have to do that so you avoid the capital gain tax? I know a little bit, but not.
You don't have to do that, period. It all boils down to, do you want to pay taxes? And
I
do you?
don't.
Well, you don't. So when you sell a property, you have to do a 1031 exchange and then find another like property and
And
buy
is there a
that.
time frame?
Yes, but there's also like a reverse 1031 exchange. And so you can, that's above my pay grade. So we'd have to have another class on that. I can't explain it very well, sorry.
So that would go along with the strategy, there's a strategy of selling. The owner financing, and renting, and short-term rentals. Obviously.
Yeah, it's a great exit strategy. You said you didn't have an exit strategy. You got a great exit strategy. Sell it and then not pay tax on it. That's great. I mean, that is an exit.
So you're pushing it, you're not getting out of taxes. You're pushing it.
You're pushing.
You're pushing it out.
Yeah.
Sooner or later you're gonna pay it. It's just not. No. Right? Yeah. Isn't that right? Okay, maybe I'm wrong. So
Everyone dies eventually.
I just did 1031 here to Austin, and you have 45 days to find it and 180 days to close.
Say that one more time.
You have 45 days and you can list your properties in Austin, and they're going fast. So I listed 6 and I couldn't be that picky. My son moved there, so I had to do something. And I had 180 days to close.
Okay. And you have to use a third party to hold your money. Who do you use?
Michael Valeris, at American Edge Title, he was just here, he held it.
There's also a reverse 1031 exchange, what I kind of mentioned earlier. You can buy the property first and then sell your other one and roll it in. That's a reverse 1031.
A lot of times people do 1031s after you own a property a long time because you've depreciated it out on your tax return, so you don't have to pay taxes on that depreciation. I think it's 25%. So you can 1031 and put all that money into a new property or multiple properties. And it's called a like-kind exchange, but it's very, very broad. You can put it from a rent house to an apartment complex to almost any sort of real estate. So it's very, very broad. You can't buy individual stocks, but you can buy almost anything real estate wise.
Going back to my example that I did where I was going to hopefully and potentially profit about $17,000. I still have to pay taxes on that. So that's still not my take home. But if I did a 1031 exchange, I wouldn't pay taxes at all, and I'd roll that into a new property.
Could you roll that into like a self-directed 401k?
I don't think that's like kind.
All right.
It's above my pay grade. I made a B in business laws.
If you sold a property and transferred it to like an IRA, I don't think you could do that. Unless your IRA owned the property and then you sold it and your IRA bought a new property. But now you're a self-directed IRA. And you don't need a 1031 exchange, I don't think, for that.
Yes. Your IRA can own
If your IRA
any of that
owns it?
property, yeah, because they're the entity that's holding it for you. And so if you want to sell it, transfer, 1031 exchange, the IRA is the owner. So they are a replacement of it.
But you didn't profit. And your IRA is already
The profit
taxed.
stays in the IRA, and it can also continue to buy.
It's a good question. That's above all
Well,
our pay
I'm
grades.
wondering because people use the self-directed 401ks or IRAs to then you roll it back in, roll it back in. You're basically building your IRA and then you get a certain age, you take it out and pay back in that.
Yeah, it all stays in your IRA, and that's where I say I don't know if you have to do the 1031 because it never leaves the IRA.
Correct.
Right.
But you pay your taxes when you go to draw on your IRA. and roll it.
Correct. Yeah, so you pay them later.
Yeah.
Something else to think about when you drive home is you can use 1031 money to loan out when you do a owner finance deal.
Can you use 1031 money to do hard money lending?
I'm sorry, did I say 1031? I meant IRA money.
IRA.
I'm sorry, self-directed IRA money. I didn't say self-directed IRA. That's what I meant to say.
For owner.
To loan money. You can loan money out of self-directed IRA.
Could I bring up something about owner financing, whether you do a wraparound or, whatever method you use to do owner financing? You don't have to hold it. The note is negotiable. So you can get on a Google search and find note buyers by the hundreds.
Yep.
So every time I did any owner financing, I let it season for 1 year, and then they would offer 85% of value, which is really good because you don't go to the closing. I mean, they pay for all the costs. You don't pay a realtor's fee. After it's all said and done, you pencil it out. You actually came out ahead, not putting it out there for sale.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just another.
Yeah, with the, when you do an owner finance note with somebody, there are, what he's saying, there are note buyers out there, okay? So they'll buy that note and then any equity that you've got, you get to pocket that right away. So that's one way you can free up your capital to go buy more. Or like you're talking about, like in an IRA, it's fantastic to do owner financing because when you put it in your IRA, that cash flow that you get every month, it keeps building in that IRA, and so you're getting $200 or $300, $400 a month in that IRA, and then if they sell the property, then you have all this equity that goes into that, and then you can go loan it out again. But you can also do that without using your own money. There's a way to do that. So you're right on one. A lot of people do that to replace their cash. We have also what we do is we help with the capital. We've got a lending arm that's it's called Peak Capital Lending. We can provide the capital for your own finance. So it kind of helps you be able to get into some of the deals without much money at all. So, but to his point is you can replenish your capital, do it in an IRA, let it build in an IRA, and it's a great way to increase the value of that IRA tax free.
Yeah, if you're wondering who, I mean, this must be horrible people that can't qualify for mortgage. We're funding one tomorrow. It's husband and wife, work, same job for 20 plus years, great income. They co-sign on their kids, and the kids default on the loan, so they can't get a mortgage. But they don't want to rent, they want to own a house, so they're going to buy this house, we're going to finance it, it's going to work out great. The only reason I don't qualify is they guaranteed a loan that their kids defaulted on. So there's all types of reasons why people don't qualify. If you don't perfectly fit in the mortgage box, there's other ways to get financing. That's something that we offer.
There's also probably a lot of value in having a lending arm on top of other financing. A lot of times, a lot of banks, even if you do a subordination agreement, they just don't want to see another lender involved.
Right.
So, I mean, can you talk about that maybe as far as pairing, for consumers that are thinking they're also going to get bank loans, sometimes that's difficult, but you might have strategies for that.
Yeah, we do. Banks like to be in first and first only. They don't like to have anything behind them as a second or, So, a big popular thing is a wrap note, which we'll get into all different structures tonight. But a wrap note is basically wrapping around the first note. You sell it at a high amount, you wrap that note around your original bank note. The problem is there's a little thing called the due on sale clause, right? Who's heard of the due on sale clause? Yeah. So what the due on sale clause is if they see that you put any liens behind them, they can call that note due. And if they call that note due, you have to pay it immediately or they can foreclose. All right. So I'll show you how to handle that. But that's something you have to be concerned with a wrap type of note. Because banks don't like to have. They won't subordinate their loan. They won't go under yours for sure. So.
Can you borrow against your, if you're carrying the note, can you use that as equity for other business?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, yes,
I found that banks have not liked that very much.
Yeah, but here's the deal. What you can do is, so you can use your note that you got, and you can pledge that note and borrow against it with an individual too, and they're very well protected because but you don't have to give up your note. You're using that money to borrow against your existing note. So once that's paid back, you still have your note intact. So yeah, that's an advanced strategy. But yeah, have you done that?
I haven't yet. I have much property that I'm owner financing now, and I'm trying to figure out how to do that.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. That's a great way to you can do that. I've never had anybody know that, so that's good.
Any other questions?
Out of curiosity, what $20,000 upgrade did you do to upgrade the value to 20 from your property you mentioned?
This one's so straight, easy forward. That's why I said 3 weeks, flooring and paint. That's all it needs. That is as easy as it comes.
Yeah.
So that's why I say I'll have one for sale in 3 weeks. Needed nothing else.
What neighborhood?
Decent. You like that neighborhood? I don't remember the address.
I don't think I can.
Off 90th Street.
Okay.
That's another good point too, is when you're looking at properties, try to stay away from war zones, okay? For multiple reasons, because one, your lenders don't like them. Number two, they're harder to rehab because they get broken into. A lot of times contractors like to leave their materials in there, or your own materials, but their tools and stuff. So they'll get broken into. So think about that too when you're purchasing a property. You make it a screaming deal for a reason. You got to understand what that reason is.
Yeah, believe it or not, location is kind of big in real estate.
I don't know if y'all tried that.
Yeah.
3 times.
Also look at your neighbors.
Yeah, it's
That's
true.
your neighboring properties.
Yeah.
That will affect you more than you realize.
But the higher increase of rentals are in the war zones. That's just how it is.
What? I'm sorry?
Like, there are more rentals in the quote-unquote war zones, or
Yes.
that's where the more renters are. So, yeah.
There's great rentals everywhere. So there are a lot in those neighborhoods. You're right. It's just not working. It's not working.
I would think you would have lower end renters or lower.
You get lower end renters, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not always, but
Generally more repair expense, more above expense.
I have a question. A few years ago, they changed the lease option in Texas. The only state in the union that does not allow that. Because you can't go a 12-month period, collect an option and sell it. What is your recommendation to do something near that, like rent it for 10 months with an option to buy and not a year?
I would not do an option.
No
Stay
option.
away from options and you're going to be
Period.
okay.
Here,
So what I recommend is you do a lease, 12-month lease, okay? I'm doing this right now with an owner finance deal, okay? They don't have enough money for their down payment yet. She's supposed to be getting a bonus, okay? So when she gets her bonus, then they're gonna buy, okay? So we're setting them up on a 12-month lease, because I don't know if she's ever gonna get that bonus or not, okay?
Right.
So it's a normal lease, and then I just cancel that lease when they're ready to buy. But I would at least do a 12-month lease with them. Because anytime you start dealing with options, you're gonna get yourself in trouble. And I'm telling you, the penalties, if you do a lease option in Texas, the penalties are devastating. They're horrible. They're so stiff. It's like, say somebody paid, rented lease option for 3 years with you, okay? The penalty of that is 3 times what they paid you.
Quick.
Don't do lease options. Just stay away from them in Texas. You can do them other places, but not in Texas.
And I think it's 6 months, isn't it? No, it's not 12 months, it's 6 month limit on your option.
Yeah, because they do limit you.
It has to be very quick. Yeah,
But
stay
there's
away
a
from it.
reason behind it, because people were taking advantage of people. They knew they weren't going to be able to, have enough money to eventually buy it. So they're charging them $3,000 and $5,000 option fees, okay? Well, 6 months or 3 months down the line, they can't come up with it, and they just pocket the money. And then they move on to the next person. They had no intention of ever selling that house. So that's why they came down on that strategy. So I would lease, then purchase. But I would have them sign both a purchase agreement and a lease, and have a future date, okay? And use what we did is we used their, $3,000 down as earnest money. Okay, so we'll put it, as far as they want to go back, and this is what the closing date, you agree on the closing date, it may be 12 months from now or whatever, put it as earnest money. And then if they can't close by that date, then, and we give them now, if they don't qualify, because they have to qualify. With our program, they have, well, any owner finance station, you can't do predatory loans, okay? So we go through, there's a qualification, because you don't want them to, you don't want to put them in a house that they can't afford. That's just unethical, and there's laws against it, okay? So there's a pre-qualification that they go through. If they don't qualify, then we just give them, we either change that money to a deposit, so we put it down as a deposit on their lease. So, they're not going to close with it. So don't be a jerk and know they're not going to close, and then you keep that earnest money. That's just not ethical. It's not the right thing to do. Okay, I'll catch up to you. So always do the right thing. There's easy ways to do the right thing with owner finance. It's easy. There's ways to do it, but you do need to know how to do it the right way. So. What time is it? We running over? Huh? Oh, okay. Very good.
Yeah, we're good. Stay tuned. We got some big speakers coming in the near future. So just stay tuned for that. It's going to be some exciting speakers coming.
Not these three boring guys.
Yeah, we got way more exciting.
Yeah. Other than that, again, we're here till 7. We like to open it up and do networking. So feel free to run around and talk to everyone. Thank you, everyone.
And again, thanks to our sponsors, Lubbock Mechanical. Any HVAC needs, I'm telling you, they're the best. They're really good to work with. They really are. And if you have a VIP card, they're going to give you a discount. So, all right. Thank y'all for being here.